Please go do so now.
Printer. That middle one. So. Okay. Yeah, because I just went to.
That's and very. We're going to get reconvene now, please. Richard Marshall. If there's anyone that hadn't paid for bills, we go up front and pay for it. You can ask for a senior discount.
Oh, now you tell me.
Yeah, well, not you. Not you, obviously.
Well, you can.
I don't think I got it.
$10.82. $10.82.
We didn't have any
I've got an iPhone now.
I paid $11.78. I paid before I got $8.22 back. Hello, you in the back? You ready to get started?
Yeah, that's where we just went last time.
Don't forget the rules for a joint session. As of this moment, t-shirts is back for free.
Whoa.
I'm tired of carrying them around my feet.
You got to be made by Omar.
They're all size S. There's a big one. He ain't
Come on.
All you ladies need an ID. Okay, well, let's get back in order. Take your seats, please.
Which one in the position for your purpose? I got this to do.
Okay. Our next item on the list is our website. And I'd like to first ask, I'll take a motion to accept the TexasRepublic.com website as the authorized official website now.
I second that motion.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I second the motion. That's what I heard.
Second by John Dorn. And I've got here for a discussion by our webmaster, Tom O'Hearn. Harlem.
No.
Does anybody not hear me? I'm not known for having a quiet voice. Raise your hand if you don't hear me back there. Now, you raise your hand if you hear me fine. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Tom O'Halloran. In addition to being your general land commissioner, I'm also now your webmaster. When I was asked to do this, or actually I asked and they said maybe, I didn't want to make changes to the old website because my ideas were rather radical from where the website was. So what I did was I built a parallel website with all of the data that was on the old one. The first problem that I had was with the issue of TexasRepublic.info. It doesn't have the respect that even a company deserves, let alone a nation. So I registered thetexasrepublic.com, and I built the website over there. My intent was last month to give you the presentation, show you the new website, and let you talk about it and decide if you wanted to go with it. Something happened last week. Yes?
I have a question real quick if I
Yes.
can interject. What, to your
Give
knowledge,
a mic, please.
Joe Buckhouse. So I have a question. To your knowledge, what does it take to get, say, for instance, .tx or .tex?
Good question. Stay with me.
Okay.
Okay, so I registered thetexasrepublic.com. We had to pick up a the, but we got a .com. I also registered .org. And this was just accepted to be the actual website. Currently, anybody that goes to the old website, .info, there's this banner that I created is over there, and it says press here, we've moved. It's not an automatic forwarding, which might confuse some people. They'll see it, they'll take note that we've moved, and they'll come over here. I've changed the menu system around. The Republic.org is automatically being forwarded to this site as well. We may use it for something else down the road. Now, other than the United States, every country on the planet has their own extension. In China, it's .cm, Taiwan, .tw. I'm in the process of getting the information of what we need to register .tx. We will be whatever .tx, Republic.tx or whatever at some point in time. I will have that data probably by the time we have our next meeting. Now, my issue with the header on the last website was we had a real nice wood logo over here that said the Republic of Texas, but the other half was flowers, the blue bar. It didn't get the bold image. I'm not a graphics artist. I did my best to create something that had both the strength and the age to show endurance. So the Texas Republic of Texas banner is right there. If we can scroll up a little bit first.
Can't scroll up anymore.
No, the other way, the other up.
Scroll
Scroll the
down.
page up, there you go, there you go. Scroll the page up. Okay, so we got, this is just a thing I put up here for today, to let people know that we are being live streamed. We've got a video over here that was done sometime back with Senator Bob Wilson in it. We have a hit counter. Since the raid on Valentine's Day, we have had 64,764 hits on the website. I've got wood banners over here to kind of go along with the wood header up here. So we've got Facebook, Twitter, RSS feeds, and email. They can all reach us here. On the Twitter account, I created We Are Texians. At We Are Texians is the Twitter handle. If anybody wants to manage that, they're welcome to. As of now, I'm managing it. But I'd be happy to turn it over if somebody wants to take that. Facebook, I need to get with Senator Wilson's daughter, Deb, to get the Facebook thing. Every time something gets posted to here, it should go out to our Facebook page. I believe it was Ray Cannon that came up with the idea last week to translate it. We've got a translate bar over here. I need to take one of those off and clean it up. But there are about a dozen flags up there. You click on that. This page will automatically translate everything, including the menu, the actual content, the search for everything, into 84 different languages. Stayed up all night doing the translation.
And I had to feed him all night.
If we can scroll up a little bit more, please.
Sir, question?
Yes,
Question.
yes.
I'm probably the only one who's gonna, I'm probably the only one's gonna think about this because I'm deaf. Is there any way, or on the videos, are you able to put closed captioning for the deaf and hard of hearing?
I believe that has to be done when you're creating the video. I'll look into it and see.
Yeah, because I have several different people at San Antonio community where I go to school that are interested but could not access and understand the videos.
I'll look into that, but I think that's pretty much got to be done when you're creating the videos.
Thank you.
Okay, what I've done is I've taken us from the from the main site in one column to a 2-column format. For our Facebook like page, instead of just having this is what we used to have, where they can like us, now you can like us, but you can also see who else likes us. This has been known to get more people interested. They'll like us just to see if their picture gets up there. Okay? Contact us information, instead of being up in the banner like it was on the old site, I brought it right down here. Upcoming elections. It used to be you had to click on a given county, scroll down in the county and find out if there were any upcoming elections. Now, if there's an upcoming election in any county, we can just post it right here, and I'll show you what I did with the counties in just a few minutes. Our next meeting right here, let's scroll up a little bit more. We still have the map thing, our currency a little bit more, please. Up.
Up?
Bruce, no, the other up. The other up.
Down means up.
In the movies, I can just go like this. Some more?
This is not CSI.
Some more? Okay, this over here is our Twitter feed. Anything that gets tweeted from We Are Texians shows up here. So when I announce meetings, every time I post a press release or something to the blog, it shows up over here as well. In here, these are the categories for the blog. These are recent posts. Okay, now, we've got the 2 columns. I would like to see us, because we're not a very affluent country. Our republic, they won't let us raise taxes and tax everybody to death like some countries do. I would like to see us find like-minded companies. One comes to mind, the Republic of Texas restaurant on the Riverwalk. Sell them a banner ad where they can have their banner over here for maybe $200 a month. 5 or 6 of these, and we could actually afford to pay money to rent halls, pay for bail money, whatever. It's a possibility. I can't do this. I would like, when we're done, for somebody to make a motion that we can discuss it and Congress can vote on it. Sean?
I heard this morning listening to the radio.
You have microphones, please.
Sean Dorn, Senator Fort Bend. I like that.
What is it about Fort Bend that appeals to you?
It's a great county. I heard this morning on a horticulture type radio show, a nursery called Republic of Texas.
Sure, sure. Anybody that's got the Republic of Texas in their name has got to want this kind of visibility. So it's not a matter of can we raise money there. There's going to be some people that don't think as a nation we should be doing this kind of commercial stuff. It's a discussion for the table. If somebody can make a motion for it when we're done here, that'd be great. Now, next up we have county reps. Okay, we go back up to the menu.
Now you're telling me to go up to the main.
Yes, because it's on the top of the page.
You didn't say scroll up, you said go up, right?
Okay, so. Is Andrew here?
No.
Okay. If you can, click on who we are and click on what makes us unique right there. That's it. And then scroll back down so we can see this screen. Now, I have the 3 columns, the main column and the 2 side columns. I like that on a website. I like the consistency. As you move through the whole website, there will be a few pages maybe where we don't, where we have a press release that's 4 pages or 5 pages wide. You take that into a small thing, it's going to be 8 or 10 pages. In that instance, I would do something like this. Andrew, who gave me some great ideas on changing from the old thing, the old website to the new website, doesn't like them. He likes 2 columns on the front screen. On the rest of them, he would like to see it this way. Now, can we scroll back to the menu and take the next item down if you would? Here we are, and think about it. And scroll back down so we can see what it looks like.
Gotta catch up.
Yeah. Okay. This is the same information, but we're keeping the sidebars. Okay? When we're done here, I would like somebody at the table to bring up a motion to vote, keep the sidebars or lose the sidebars. I like them, Andrew doesn't. Somebody suggests something that I agree with, I make the change. They suggest something I don't, it's not my website, I'll do whatever you guys want. Okay, these are two options, two ways to look at it. If you prefer it with, we keep it. If you prefer it without, I'll start getting rid of the sidebars on the inside pages. It's your guys' call, yes.
I think the technology committee can take care of that part.
Oh, okay.
We don't need a motion.
Okay. Okay, back to the menu then, please. Okay, Republican officials, if we can go there, and just the executive branch is fine. We don't need to look at all of these. And scroll down so we can see what the page looks like. It used to be that whether you picked the executive, the Senate, the Congress, or the judicial, you'd have this great big long thing with all the different counties and the permutations, the Republic counties to the state counties, and then you see the names of the people involved. There'd be no names. You want to contact us, the phone number on the main page is about the only way to do it. Now, everybody that's serving in office has their name next to their office, and it's all hot linked to an email address, okay? Every one of them is hot linked to an email address. Somebody wants to reach you, I'm in the process of working out to put photos next to it. Mine worked, I had 2 other people submit photos, and they both break into 3 lines, so I'm still wrestling with that. But if you'd like to have your photo next to it, send me a copy, make sure people are more likely to contact with you when they're having contact with. So now, each one of the branches of the government have their own page, a simple list to look through and be able to reach out and contact the people. Back to the menu, if you would, please. Okay, these are just the different judicial offices. In the media, I moved press releases, radio and TV interviews, okay, press releases, just hover there, we don't need to. Each one of these are a separate page. You can go through all the press releases. These will generally be in order, so the newest ones are at the top. The next item down here, radio and TV interviews, again, in order, down from the top. Each of these are on their separate page. The rate in Bryan, Texas. Now this is different. This is a collection. Click on that if you would, Bruce, and then scroll down so we can see what we have. Every one of the news articles that I found online, I took and I created a blog post for. And I set the category on that to the rate. These are all listed here. Every one of these, when you get to the bottom of this, there's another link for previous items. There's some 20 items in here right now. All sorted under one category. Okay?
Was that sorted or sorted?
Sorted, yeah. The whole sorted thing is not sorted. Okay, if we can get back to the menu. And click on home for me if you would. And scroll down again so we can look at it. One more thing I meant to mention. On the old website, the blog was on the front page. Every time an update was put out there, it was on the front page. Sometimes this was a good thing, sometimes not so good. It could be just a short notice that something happened. There was one long story. There was what if 1 through 344 or something. You didn't have control over it. People land on your web page, they don't really know what they're going to get. You don't want that. When you land on a web page, when somebody lands on your web page, you want control over what they're going to see. It's their first visit. You want to know what they're going to see. Now we have that control. I moved the blog to a back page. I'll show it to you in a second. The front of the website right now is our latest press release. There's a couple of other articles down below. It's just a teaser on the press release. You got to click here to read the rest of it. For previous press release, I did the same thing. You have a little bit of information, and then click here to see more. And then a story about the under attack. So you've got all 4 of the major press releases right here on the front page, all just teasers. But we know what they're seeing. It is going to change on a day-to-day basis. If we get back up to the menu, my friend.
I noticed we've had 3,000 hits since he started talking.
I can get Ray up here, we can let him talk and get to 90,000 hits. Okay.
I make the motion we send the feds a thank you note.
And make them pay for it.
Is there a second to that?
The funny thing is had I waited to create the website on the old website, Valentine's Day would have happened, we would have had the shitstorm happening, and I'd be posting this stuff to the old website. Fortunately, I just said, well, let me build this on spec, maybe they'll like it. And boom, it was ready. I was ready to give this presentation then. Fortunately, we were able just to post all this new information as fast as they could push it out. We put it up on the website, and we've been able to manage the whole process. So it was time and place. The blog, I just mentioned the blog, it's over here right now. So all of the news stories that have come out about the raid on Texas are over here. Well, people don't really know what the blog is. Maybe they'll never see it. I've got it over here as well. News stories about the FBI raid in Ryan, Texas. Same damn thing. You're not going to miss it. Okay? Counties, if you will. Counties. Again, when you click on counties, it used to have that great big long list of all the counties, and these 300 counties are part of this county, and the rep is this, and the rep this and that. Now we've got counties A through G, and through whatever. If you select on A through, yeah, that one first. Okay, you hit, and I only did this so that the list doesn't get so long you can't scroll through it. If you would go to the right and click on Fort Bend County, right there at the bottom. Now, 2 weeks ago, I put forth a contest. Most of the people that have offices got an email from me. I wanted information for the county. I didn't want just the, scroll up, I didn't want just the office, no, back down, sorry. I didn't want just this. Senator, Representative, Chief Justice. That's kind of, okay, what, you needed a whole page for that? They could have got that over the executive office and congressional office pages. If you go to the Bahamas.com, the nation of the Bahamas, their website, they're going to have all sorts of tourist information. Here's why you should come here. Here's information about this. So I put forth to the representatives, to the Congress, to the judges, send me information about the counties that you're responsible for. I wanted 3 to 5 things to see when you come to the county, and 3 to 5 things, historical information. We're the first county to do this. This is where this was invented. Make it interesting. Give people a reason to come visit your counties. I got a couple answers back, not a lot. So I put forth the contest. Do it by next Thursday, and whoever gets 5 of both of those is going to win a silver coin. We had a drawing. There were only 4 people that qualified with all the stuff in it. We had a drawing just before the meeting started, and speaker won. Yeah. Sean Dorn came forth with the most of it. If you could just scroll down here a little bit, we've got. Let's see if I can bring this into focus just a little.
Let me make a comment first.
Yes.
I appreciate the silver. I will either donate it for paying the webmaster, or I'll donate it back to the Republic of Texas. Either one.
Well, we appreciate you putting the information out there. In Fort Bend County, Fort Brazos State Park, the Challenger Center, County Fair and Livestock Show. People now, when they go to your county, they see what you've got. It not only gives them a reason to travel there, but it also gives them a reason to come back and visit the website again. Okay? Each county's got its own page. The officials at the top, you saw that. I still need information from most of you. Please send it in. Okay? A lot of these counties are as vacant as the seats that are surrounding them. That may be why they're playing, because nobody's there. But if you haven't returned all your stuff in, please do it. That's about all I got for you. Same information, everything that was on the old site is on here. I've rearranged some of the stuff. You've got Republic of Texas. This says TV right now. I threw this up here a couple of weeks ago, just on a lark, because I had an idea. You know, I do a radio show, Patriot Radio Show, Jihad on America on Fridays. But I wanted, and I've had Ed on, I'm going to have the first Monday of every month, I'm gonna have one of the leaders of the Republic on my show to talk about a given area of the Republic, the history, where we're going, the process, why we do this, whatever. But I wanted something that was more dedicated to it. So I just did my thing. I had the idea. Boom, Republic of Texas Radio. This, on the one day, every week, there's going to be a radio show right here. You click on this. If you click on it right now, can we do that? Click on it right now.
That's TV.
Yes. Because it's TV, because we are, and scroll down to it. Because now we are streaming, and a little bit more, just a little bit more, and then click in there. Maybe we don't. Anyway, Steve O'Brien is actually taping this. It's being streamed out to the internet. Our connection here is slow, and it may not work real well in this because we're actually connected to the internet through my phone. But we're going to do a radio show. I'll be involved at some level. Steve O'Brien will do some of the shows. We may reach out to the folks that had us on, Doc and Heidi. There's a lot of conservatives from talk show hosts around the state. We don't know what we're going to do on this, but John Jarnicki was all behind it. He loved the idea of doing it. He's been wanting to do a radio show for a long time. By the end of the month, within the next, what have we got, two weeks to go, we're going to have a radio show set with a given time. We'll have a schedule. It will happen. It will happen this month. Any questions? No questions? Yes. Steve.
Where are you going to place archives for, as far as archives go? I know Bruce is an avid recorder of all the sessions, and there is an audio archive of all meetings, just a matter of fact.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Meetings. Can we no, we don't need to go back up there. On the menu. One of my first ideas, thinking this thing over, because I sat through 2 of these meetings, and the first 2 hours of each meeting was redoing the meeting that we had a month ago. I'm taking the minutes right now. Within a week, these minutes will be turned into a Word document, sent to Bruce. Bruce will approve them or make the changes as needed, and they'll be posted to the website up at the top. It says meeting minutes. Every month now, as we did today, there'll be a motion to approve the minutes as posted. It's up to you guys to get out within 2 weeks before the meeting, go out, read through the minutes, and we just got 2 hours off. So, that's it. That's on the website, guys. Yes.
Microphone.
Here you go.
I know Bruce is like my mentor, and that's why I'm here.
Tormentor.
Right, or tormentor. And he has these RBN cards, public broadcasting cards. He passes liberally around to get people to listen to truth. He's a lot better than me.
Microphone is not on.
Normally get. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Can we create some cards that, there are 40, 50 people here, can we get some cards that will direct people to the website and mention the radio show when it's occurring? Something where, you can put all this stuff up, but you need to get it out.
Yeah, that's the question for the table.
Yeah.
I've got nothing to do with that, but I'm sure something like that can be done. And to answer Steve's question, we will have backups and anything, like all those interviews that we had, they're all on the website. They're all there under in the media. All the interviews are right there, and nothing will be taken down.
Well, more to my point is not necessarily media links. I'm talking matter of fact, this is a recording from this event.
These recordings here?
Yes.
Yeah, I absolutely, good idea. I'll put it up there.
Because Bruce probably still has a lot of recordings.
If there's no issue with it, I'd be happy to put it up there. It's not a space issue at all.
Okay.
Question
I
here?
have a question.
Yes.
Is there something up there that says what the object, what the object of the Republic of Texas is?
Yes.
I mean, because if people go there and don't know, how are they gonna know what they found?
Who we are is a good place to start right here.
Here's who we are.
This is right next to home. Right next to home. Top line right there. The purpose, what makes Texas unique? And this is the proclamation that was written by President Jernke. And then if you go under miscellaneous, there's more documents. Let's do that. Let's go back up to the top if you would. We've got in the media, we saw that historical documents. This is a good one right there. To the right, historical. You've got treaties. Just hover on treaties if you would. These are all the different treaties. Treaties 1830 with France. All the different treaties that have involved the Republic. Underneath that, you've got the original the Supreme Court down. But this is an article that was a radio show that was produced that the guy said, and I haven't personally verified this, that the Supreme Court has validated the people's right to have a common law trial, common law jury. So I posted that up there, the Constitution, the Declaration of Rights, the Declaration of Independence on 1836. So all of this stuff is in here. And then we can go back up to historical documents. Okay, now let's go down to miscellaneous, which is over here to the law. Section of law. Under here, get more evidence that Texas is still a republic. Fiction of law, Black's Law Dictionary, the definitions. And then websites about Texas that we like. This is something that I threw in. Would you click on that one for me, please? And Rich had come to me with a website, and if you scroll down, you can see it. Not that one now. Okay. Rich came to me with the Texas Independence Trail. Great website about, guess what? The Independence Trail. And I liked it, but it was just too much to put on our website, to put on a given page. So I went out and found other websites about Texas that I think belong here. Facts and figures about Texas, Texas Beyond History, Texas Facts and Trivia, Texas State Historical Institution or Association for Travel Texas. If anybody knows any reason why some of these might not should be up there, let me know. Other than that, if you think of any other websites that are pro-Texas that you'd like to see up here, again, let me know. Send me anything that you see that you would like on the website. If you see a news article that is about the Republic, for God's sake, send it to me. Don't expect that somebody else will send it to me. Send it to me so we can get it up on the website. It's the news articles. The website's great, yes, thank you. But it's not the look of the website that's drawing the traffic. It's what happened a month ago, and it's all the news articles that have been coming out about it. When New York Times put a news article on their website, it drove 8,000 hits that day to our website. And when they got here, our website had their story on it. So that it's that cross-posting that drives the traffic. If you see something that should be here, don't think that I already have it. I don't care if I get 10 copies of the same thing. Send it to me. Yes, Bob, your hand.
Senator Wilson, in direct answer to the lady's question, the purpose is in the proclamation, which is one of the known pages. The proclamation states our purpose completely.
And the proclamation was on the front page until all this other stuff happened. That was designed to be the first thing they see when they got here.
Yes. I rise to make a motion that the Congress approve the new website.
We already got a motion on the floor.
Oh, you do?
You have to accept this website.
Oh, okay.
Let's do that first.
I wasn't here.
Senator Wilson,
Are we all questions?
Any other questions?
right here.
We had a question today, but yes, Derek?
I'm learning. There are a lot of groups.
Microphone.
Microphone, please. Please state your name.
Ada. Ada Brown. There are a lot of Republic of Texas named groups. Have we, or is there a way to ensure that this website is going to be the one that they hit on because it's at the top of the list? You understand what I'm trying to ask? I mean, I'm putting it
Right.
clearly.
First off, there's different ways to get to the top of the list. One of them is advertising. Some of the people are advertising by Google ads and stuff. I don't expect we have a budget for that right now. We're getting the traffic because there are websites that are posting, big websites that are posting information about us. Some point down the road, it might make sense for us to buy some Google ads and drive more traffic to it. But at this point, we're getting the traffic that people are looking for, the rate and stuff like that. Rich?
Did you get my question about, the flags?
No.
The information I sent you about the flags, bring it up, Mr. Speaker, on the flags.
Oh, it's under miscellaneous. It's under miscellaneous. Miscellaneous. Oh, that's a hover. Oh, then you click that. Don't click on that. Just hover over it.
Go to the blog and then come back. I clicked on it again.
There we go. Flag at the bottom.
That's us, Mr.
Is that what you're questioning?
Bring the flags up.
By hover, it doesn't do it anymore. Okay, there it is.
Well, it's slow.
Tom, what's the email address?
My email address is TPO, that's Tango Papa Oscar, at TPO.net. Ooh.
Thank you.
Well, that's ugly. Is that what you're talking about?
No, sir, I was talking about the flags. If you bring the flags up and you click the flags, it doesn't say anything about it.
Well, there they are.
Oh, they're there, okay. No, the data that is on here, I don't write content, my friends. If you want information on the website, feed me. Okay, I built the website, everything that is here has been provided to me recently from the press releases, from the news articles and stuff like that. Most of the content that is here, I backed up the old website, I restored the data here. There was no data on it.
Okay, then I pass that on to the tech committee, possibly.
There's a lot of
So
stuff
we
that
could
should be.
just say about the flags, what they are and what they represent, that
Sure.
type of thing.
Yeah.
The other question I have, Steve, did you have a chance to check on that link as far as Rice McLeod is the old ranger on,
I found the DVD.
did you find it?
It's at home.
Great, good. Okay, he's got it, Tom.
Oh, cool. I'll get it from Steve.
Thank you.
On those flags,
Yes.
I believe you just put flag up there and then put refer to the Flag Act. Certainly, I can send them to you and let people see where we activated those flags.
Sure, I can highlight it from there. Yeah, great idea. Okay. Any other questions? Steve?
This is built off of a This is built off of a WordPress backend, is that correct?
Yes.
Or, okay. What about, so as we watch the counter move, right, we're getting 100 hits every 10 minutes or something like that. We've just moved. Do you have a module loaded to see where they click from and where they go on the page? I believe that there's like a jetpack or something
Yeah.
like that that actually lets us
that
know
is there.
the referrals, where they're coming from. I'd be interested to hear.
It's not something for the public to see, but yes, it's on the back end.
Okay, yeah, I'm just kind of curious as to those. Maybe I'll talk to you a little bit about
Sure.
it later.
Sure.
Thanks.
At the back table?
Right here.
Behind you, Steve.
Actually, it might seem like a small minor detail, but I've noticed on a lot of websites, and this is always really interesting to see what nationality those visitors are in, or their nationality, like what countries you're getting views from.
Uh-huh.
I figured that might be a big thing considering we're becoming our own.
One of my first hit
So-
counters I played with was a globe. You've seen them around and the little pins come up on them. It's very heavy resources. It drains the resources of a server severely because it has to track all of that. It's got to spin the globe, and it really slowed the website down. So I opted just to go with something that's a little more clear.
Okay, because I've seen where it's just a picture and it just has a counter with the nationality's flag, or with the country's flag, and it just has a number count.
If you can,
So-
if you see a website that's got that, I'd be happy to look at it and see.
Okay.
Okay, I've tried 5 or 6 different counters, and settled to this one, because I haven't seen anything more suitable, but that doesn't sound like it would be, that time intensive.
Okay.
So I'm open to anything on this. This is not my website, it's your website. I've taken it where I could with my vision, but if anybody has any ideas for it, just let me know what you're thinking. First over here, Rich.
Do you have any idea what the average time is for each one that hits the sun? Do we have any average time possibly?
No, it's not a real high-end server. I share a server with about 40 of my other domains, which is why we're no longer paying. I don't know what the old site was paying for the domain names. I don't know what they're paying for the service, but I paid for the domain names. I'm going to continue doing that so that these domain names don't become a charge on the Republic, and they're being hosted for free on my hosting account at GoDaddy. And Steve, I'm going to get with you next week. You'll have all the passwords and everything in case I get hit by a truck or my wife shoots me or something. Yes, sir.
And that's possible.
What about us contacting some charitable organizations and offering them a free spot on our website, such as Texas Lions Camp, which does fantastic things for handicapped kids? Put a spot on there for suggested donations, charitable donations. Those people might fall over backwards, and when they start putting it on our website, that's just like an endorsement.
I like the idea. That's not a decision for me to make. That would have to come through the tech committee. My only reservation is if somebody clicks our website and they've got money in their pocket, I'd rather see it going into our coffers.
I thought about that too,
Yeah.
but their endorsement being on our website may be worth way more.
Not a bad idea at all. Other questions? I've got an update on Dwala. Can we do that here? Do you want to take that after this?
Let's get that after the next.
Okay, okay. Any other questions?
There's another value to that, and the people want to see their website on our website, and it'll draw more people to our website. Oh, the Lions is on the Republic of Texas, you'll get more visitors.
Sure, that's always a good collateral effect as well. This.
I believe all those, Zeta, I believe all those are good ideas, but I think that we have already been opened up and exposed and had issues like Valentine's Day, that how are we going to govern, how are we going to choose who goes on the website, who gets to and who gets to not? I'm just concerned about protecting us and what we're doing by letting people come on for free and connect with our organization, with their organization with us.
For the charitable things? Is that what you're talking
Any
about?
of them, because even though, like, I know the Lions Camp is a phenomenal group, my daughter and son have been campers out there, but you may have some people within the Lions group that are not approving of us and that could utilize, i.e. a couple of the sheriffs from our county that was here, have high contacts with that particular organization and volunteer and have time there. So I'm just, you never know who within that organization might utilize this against us.
It might be something for the tech committee to take up. It's certainly not on my plate.
That's what I'm bringing.
Congress we won't handle that until the tech committee brings it to us. You didn't hear me?
No.
You called for a motion?
And if there are no more questions, that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, for the motion, the first and second is to make the TexasRepublic.com as a authorized official website. Do I hear yeas?
Yeah.
Hold up your hand, everybody. Unanimous?
Okay, next,
Excuse me, who made the motion, please?
Behrman.
No.
Behrman, second, Thorne.
Second by Strong George.
I think you had that.
Oh, that's right, that was already.
Senator Ballard and Representative.
Mr. Wilson, did you want to bring a motion before our next item? A while ago, you tried to bring a motion.
There was a motion to approve the website, yeah.
Oh, that was already on the floor. Okay. Okay, now we want a motion.
John Doerr has it.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll wait till after your motions are done. Thank you.
Okay, motion to award donations of 2 silver Alamos per month to the webmaster Tom O'Harlian.
Silver now. You were talking gold last week, weren't you?
You may have been.
I'm gonna say, you were the one that said,
Oh,
oh.
that was me. That was me.
And this would be,
Are you sure you want to give it to Tom or you want to give it to me?
The councilwoman
and this would be effective retroactively to January 2015.
So moved.
You got a motion by Wilson?
No, you got first.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Second by Rowe. Wilson and Rowe.
Is there any discussion on that? No. You don't want to give it to his wife or what? She's gonna get it anyway.
That's right. Thank you, sir.
I'll suggest this, that, that's the best investment of 2 silver Alamos that we will have ever make.
Thank you, Senator Wilson.
I agree with you there. Okay, all in favor, raise your hand, yay. Unanimous, okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Lloyd, would you get 4 silver Alamos together for, I need you to write me just a little bit short. You received this from.
Lloyd, did you hear that comment about the 40?
You don't have a mic, he can't hear you.
Okay, did you have something you want to say? Senator Dorn.
Thank you, sorry, for interrupting. I'm just not on the agenda or anything, but while we were going through the website, the Fort Bend section, it became really clear that the congressional representative for Fort Bend is open. And when I came and met you all, I had suggested that perhaps my husband, Roger Dorn, might be able to fill that position. And I hope everyone has had the opportunity to meet my husband, Roger Dorn, and might consider having him representative of Fort Bend County, please. Thank you.
You need to do paperwork.
Yes.
Are you asking to have him appointed to that position?
I am.
That goes to the president.
That goes to the president.
So that ankle bracelet is off now?
President Jarnicki. What's your opinion on that? You'll be the one that had the appoint.
Somebody's gonna have to tell me what was said, because back here, nobody can hear anything.
Oh, amen.
That ice machine overpowers everything that's being said in here. So if you would repeat that, I would appreciate it.
Senator Dorn is asked for her husband Roger to be appointed as representative of Fort Bend County.
We have discussed that, I think, within the last couple of months, and yes, I'm in favor of that, and I would certainly be happy to appoint Roger as representative from Fort Bend.
It would have to be, as you become official as soon as your paperwork would be in. So better for it.
Any appointment that I make has to be approved by the Senate, and since there are several senators here, or every senator is here, I believe that that's probably a shoe-in, so As soon as the Senate approves the appointment, why, everything is a go.
Outstanding.
Did you get that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Item 14. Updates on the efforts to establish the accounts and process online donations to the Texas Freedom Fund. Thomas Halloran, representative, and Jim Fern. Have y'all got anything to say about it?
Yes. Mike? I spoke with Billy Ford, the Secretary of State, Billy Ford, earlier this week, or late last week, I think it was. Got the bank account information that I would need to connect the Dwala account to it. I went to the Dwala account, got the information that I needed. They wanted the social security number, ID, blah, 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 blah. Billy Ford was not inclined to give up his social security for this. I've had my social security back after 20 years, 24 years without it. And I'm at the very beginning of this whole process again, so I went ahead and set the Dwala account up as myself, as webmaster and land commissioner. Billy concurred with them that I am an official, so I had authority to do that. We thought it was on track. We should have had the information and the codes I needed to set it up on the website by yesterday. But late yesterday, I got an email from them, which I forwarded to Billy, but him not being here. We were denied a Dwala account because they're concerned about the scrutiny that they would be under with the federal government. We were trying to set this account up as a government, as a Republic of Texas, and that was declined. I would like to retry it as an organization. It's not what we want, but it might be better than not getting it at all. So with your permission, I can retry it this week, just open it up as the Texas Republic organization. And that's where we stand right now. I've taken it off of the website. I had it up there, coming soon, donate here. But that's where we're at on it.
Well, I thought one of the purposes of setting up the LLC was to avoid that, was to avoid having to use a social security number. That would serve as our TIC or whatever. But my understanding was that the LLC was to get us out of having anybody.
Then I could resubmit under that. I didn't know. I wasn't involved in the whole pre-process of this. I was asked to make the connection and get it to work. So I would have a look. When they ask for a tax ID, Billy says 9 on there. So I kind of took one for the team and put mine on there. But I'm sure I can readdress it with them and submit that.
Am I correct in that understanding, that it was the LLC was to avoid the TIC?
Totally correct. Is Representative Fern in the room? He was the one that's supposed to coordinate all that. And that, between him and Andrew Doty, that number was obtained and should have been the number used. I think that we feel a little bit embarrassed here because there seems to be a lack of continuity in our efforts. So I think we need to put it back in the hands of Mr. Doty, Mr. Fern, and Billy.
Yep.
To use the information that we already have, but they still, if we represent ourselves as a government, Dwala is saying we don't want to take that risk.
I will take care of contacting all 3 of them, including Tom, all 4 of them, including Tom, and ask them to get together and resolve this, that was the reason for us getting the LLC, and to do it as soon as possible.
If you recall, that LLC was established in New Mexico State because they are generally less intrusive and require less information. And so that's the one to use for sure to keep us from being under so much scrutiny.
In fact, what I'm thinking, Senator Wilson, is let's make that part of our Monday technology.
Right.
Okay?
And let's get it resolved. The pressure shouldn't have been on Tom Howard. And we need on the call all of them, Dodie, Fern, and Billy.
Okay, if you all can send out then an invitation to them and tell them the thing that's on the agenda is this Koala account and the LLC.
Right. And Senator Barron sends out the invitations as chair of the technology.
Thanks, Tom. I'm sorry that you weren't in the loop at that time, but that was what the whole effort was. You just got caught off guard.
Trying to do the web piece, but actually my piece doesn't even come into play until after the accounts are created, which I was unaware of.
Okay, item 15. Chief Justice David Croppo wants to address the Congress for a few minutes concerning common law.
Nice shirt.
Yeah, I figured about it. Is it on?
Yeah.
Okay. By now, unfortunately, if you don't know me by sight, you know my name.
I don't think it's on.
And there seems to be a connection on the radio department with the Irish. Does anybody notice that?
I don't think it's on.
Can you hear it better?
Yeah.
Okay. It showed it was on. Anyway, by now, most everybody has heard my name in places I didn't need it to be heard. And I wanted to just touch base on a few things. I was going to talk a few minutes last week, but I kind of got escorted out of the place. And one real quick thing. Anybody remembers Mr. Cheney brought up the ham radios, if you're interested in doing any of that? I took his advice and I've taken the second test now and got the general license. There's one more called amateur and then you're pretty much done unless you get crazy. It's real simple. Radios are real inexpensive, and there's a group called hamstudy.org that literally gives you the information. All you got to do is study it, go take the test. $15. People treat you great. It's a good thing. You need the license because there's a group called Amateur Auxiliary, and they do nothing but listen for people to break the rules and turn you into the FCC. So don't let that go. I wanted to say thank you because as Val Kilmer in Tombstone, when he was playing Doc Holliday, told Johnny Ringo, "I'm your Huckleberry," that was me. Nobody in that meeting last week had their name on anything that got ever mailed, including me. All I had was initials. Technically, Miss Kamick's name shouldn't have been on anything because the only thing she ever filled out was a complaint form. So the whole farce of why I didn't get to see that paperwork was probably because they knew it was illegal. And when he escorted me out to his car that day, he already had everything he needed that he said he was looking for in the trunk of his car. So one of the things I promised Miss Kamick was, we've done a couple of interviews and the word was not getting out that there's a history between her and the only unfriendly gentleman that came in that raid, the Deputy Jeff McCoy. He once, while investigating a burglary and somebody that lived in her house, stormed into her bedroom in the middle of the night, woke her up, and it was no easy task because her bedroom was far away from where he should have been, and she filed a complaint with the Rangers and maybe the DPS. So he had a bone to pick, and it was an excuse to go after her. But technically, nobody's name should have been on the paperwork because we hadn't done anything wrong. But for sure, if they wanted somebody, my initials were on a piece of paper. A lot of people were involved in paperwork. Many of you may not know, and we spoke with our new Supreme Court Chief Justice, which sounds an awful lot like the old one.
It looks a lot like him too.
We have agreed to continue with the court system, but not to continue if we know we're dealing with judges and lawyers and legal stuff, to keep it in a common law, common sense, take care of your neighbor kind of stuff, so that anything that comes up that would deal with an entity that could cause what happened immediately goes to the international. None of the stuff that can happen to us that way anymore. Now, we've done a lot of that over the past, and I realize a lot of people might not even have known it, but we've had some successes. And the only negative thing that ever happened until last week was I had an IRS agent show up in my office and threaten me about my taxes. So until that, for Valentine's Day, that was the worst thing that ever happened. I wanted to really say thank you listening to the putting together the press releases, and you really didn't need all of us. It came down to people like Ray that wrote one, and Bruce and Tom doing the cleaning up, and a few other suggestions, but we've got some very sharp people. He writes and speaks well, and I think Tom could turn anything into a very good sounding piece of paperwork with him and Bruce working together, and you guys put in lots of hours, and I appreciate all that, because a lot of this tied back to my name, and it's been everywhere, and a lot of no truth stuff has been out there. I wrote my little summation of kind of what happened and sent it to Tom, and he sent it back and said that it was the best one he'd heard explaining it, but it was easy because I was their huckleberry. What else here? The radio station. I had the pleasure of listening to your radio station, and I haven't got a chance to listen to Steve's yet, but I did notice there's an Irish connection, something going on there. But I was very impressed, especially after the raid, the way you handled the interviews and the way you spoke up, and your passion was just blowing me away. It was fabulous. So much so that I know 2 pieces of silver wasn't a lot, so I went and bought one of his shirts. As you can see, he thinks it's a great looking shirt. He noticed it right away this morning. I wasn't going to say a word, so he was very happy at that. Speakers. I listened to all the people that did actual radio interviews. Mr. Branham and Bruce and Billy and who else did one? Oh yeah, John. And most all of you I'd heard speak before, but it was very impressive how well you conducted yourself on the radio. And I tried to find the TV one, John, with the Russians, but I couldn't. They said you did a TV one? Yeah. But I couldn't find it. Oh, okay. I never got to see that one. And what surprised me is Billy's so quiet. We hardly ever hear from Billy. But wow. He's at a wedding today, and he said to tell everybody he really wanted to be here, but it was a nephew or something. I told him nobody should ever go to a wedding, even their own, but he said he had to go to make the family happy.
Grandson.
Grandson? Okay. And what I was really proud of, this became a group effort. I had a lady from the Chronicle contact me, and she wanted to do a profile just on me. But what really worried me is she said she read that New York Times article that Mr. Wells and I did an interview with this gentleman for an hour, and he printed nothing that we said. And he spoke to John. I don't know how well John's part went over, but we emphasized over and over and over with this man that we were in no way related to the McLaren incident, and that was 18, 19, 20 years ago. Police put out the good word. He assured us he would, and then he put a picture and said their leader. So that lady contacts me and wants to do a profile just on me. That didn't sound good, and this isn't about me, and I don't think it should be about any one individual. So I was very leery about that, and I put out some input asking people what they thought I should do, and most came back pretty cautious. And then recently I had the pleasure of speaking to Mr. and Mrs. Perkins, and they brought up a good point that, you know, she might just be looking to write a bad article and make me look bad, but it bothered me a lot because I talked to her on the phone for just a couple of minutes, and she wanted to know a little bit about the Republic. She wanted a lot of questions that were more Secretary of State stuff, so I referred her there, and she didn't call Billy. So that bothered me. And then she asked me about our paperwork and what caused all this, and I told her very simple thing that I learned a long time ago. If somebody says something bad about you or writes something bad, your friends don't need an explanation because they already know better, and your enemies have heard what they want to hear, so you can't explain it, so don't bother. And I told her the beautiful thing about the Republic was we're not doing anything wrong, we're not going to break any laws, and everybody's welcome to sit at these meetings and see what's going on, and when you do that, you don't have to hide anything. And I also told her we don't have to lie about anything, so we don't have to remember any stories. I don't know if I've said this before, but we were told by a very reliable source that for a long time somebody attended these meetings undercover. And my response to that back then was, you don't have to be undercover because we don't hide anything. We're out in the open. We're not breaking any laws. We're not going to. You're not going to catch us or trip us up. And as long as you think that way, you know, great. But they said that that person comes to all the meetings and they were undercover, and it was very reliable. So if they're here, welcome. You don't have to be undercover. I mentioned Mr. Ballard about going back to the VFW hall, and I said I'm sure we could get volunteers to go back and talk to those people. Many of us are veterans, and I really don't like getting kicked out of a place that we didn't have any reason to get kicked out of, and it wasn't our fault. So anyway, he's already been talking to him a little bit, and if he needs any help, I'm sure there's plenty of us that would help with that. Something in the court system, when we do the local courts, that keeps coming up. If I'm having a court, I don't want to hear about capital letters or birth certificates or any of those things that they're doing on the other side. Because if we do that and we lower ourselves to that level, we're doing what they do. We're doing all those things we don't like. So you might consider me the modern day Judge Roy Bean. He once had a man shoot up the bar, and when they shot up Lily Langtry's picture, he shot the man and fired him for lying around. And I think it was a $100 fine, and I can do that. I'm fine with that. But nobody needs to come into a court, especially if I'm going to be the justice, and I've studied the common law a lot. I don't know the international like our international committee or the Supreme Court Justice. And if you want to know a lot of statute stuff, our Chief Justice Andrews over here is very sharp, and so is the Sheriff Maz. They know a lot. And our other sheriff's not here, Bill, but he knows a lot of that stuff too. So if you need any kind of help with statute type stuff and that kind of thing, you'd think we had a couple of lawyers, but they're not, and they're really good. Common law stuff I've studied a lot, but they borrowed my book, so I don't have my reference material anymore. And it's very strange. Our president said they brought everybody's stuff back but mine. And they told him, they told him they were bringing mine, and then he said, no, we're going to keep it. But I think if it all ever comes out, the bottom line is going to be Susie filed that complaint, and he needed to go through all of us to get to her, and then they made fools of themselves, and they really blew it. And on a different note, I like to study history. When I was a kid, I hated history because they didn't teach it like you can learn it today. And I look back at what they did in Germany. And Hitler, he really screwed up. One, he went after the Jews, made no sense. And two, he didn't follow Napoleon's trade. He went into Russia and let the winter kick their butt again. But he did a couple things very smart. He wanted to take over Germany. He wanted it to be his country. And he tried by force. He got shot up, locked up in prison, and they didn't get anywhere. They came back and they built their own party while he was working on his own government. And they went through the elections and they put people out there. And sometimes I wonder if we couldn't address this from both angles. You know, we could have people, we're a republic, but in order to maybe get some of that control back, maybe following some of the history footsteps of trying to get our people in some key places to help us. I don't know if that's even something possible, but just something that when you look at history, the ones that were successful did it from the inside, and they didn't have to fight, and they didn't have to use any kind of weapons like Hitler tried in the beginning. So he had some great ideas and some real stupid stuff. So anyway, I just wanted to touch on those few key things. A special thank you to all you guys that worked on the press releases and did the interviews. I mean, I was so impressed and so proud. I had patients out of the woodwork contacting me saying, is this true? And fortunately, like I said, the people that know you, believe in you, and they didn't think anything bad. I think that Chronicle reporter wanted to do a bad article, and she still might write something because we talked about 10 minutes on the phone. Her name was Rebecca Elliott, and she writes for the Chronicle in the Houston-Katy area, and I don't think she wanted to make us look good, so I stayed away from it.
Can I have a mic, please? I don't know where y'all are, I don't know if y'all are aware of this or not, but Susie and I, of course, have children. I have two and she has one. They are citizens, and their rights were violated that day. The news station broadcasted their faces, close-ups twice, in their broadcast after saying the word militia coming out of the building. I'm making a request as a mom. Now, they did take it down, but if anybody here sees the images of our children, Susie, I hope you're in agreement with me on this, to notify us as the parents and that we protect their rights, because they should not have been shown or broadcasted without being blurred or anything. And I'm just asking that request because it is down now, but who knows where else it's been spread to. And so I'd appreciate that if you see it.
I'd just like to know when we're going to do another one of these things. When you're going to do another writ of mandamus. This one was good. They was still going, Mom.
We'll be at that meeting.
That brings up a really good thing. I'm glad you said that. I'm a firm believer that there are a lot of statutes that are wrong. And I have several friends in law enforcement, and one of my friends who's an FBI agent, I asked him one day, how do they get away with when the Constitution clearly says this can't be, like driver's license and fishing license? And all he said to me, and he was a customs agent, and he was a local cop, and now he's FBI. And he said, they get you on the statutes, they make them enforce them. So you're pretty much going to lose that battle. You might get away with a stop or two, but I personally don't think it's worth getting yourself in that spot. And the Supreme Court Justice has mentioned it a few times, the battles he had over the years. One of my friends who's a deputy sheriff in Harris County, when he heard what happened to us, he said that was the biggest crock he had ever heard. He said, I cannot believe they wouldn't show you the search warrant. I can't believe they took your stuff. He said he was just blown away. But he did tell me he's been instructed that if they pull over somebody and you say, I'm Texas Republic or Republic of Texas or anything that sounds like that, they are instructed to call a supervisor immediately because of what happened to McLaren. So they don't know the story, they just know that. And he knows me, so he thinks that's ridiculous. But that's just from a couple people. And probably the greatest thing that sums up all this mess is if you read Pastor Mike Smith's book, Tolerating Tyranny. He talks about getting the churches and the pastors back like this country and the state got started, the republic got started. But I personally believe it's better to play the game, because right now, the way I see it, we're in Yankee Stadium and we're not happy. Everywhere we look is some Yankee emblem. And you can't change their stadium overnight, so it's better to play the game and slowly make changes where when you get done, they think it was their idea.
I want to make a couple of comments about February 14th and about the court appearance that was supposed to be the following week. I think they won by shutting us down from having that court appearance. They won there. And they now made it so that we don't want to attack any of these office holders in the government. We know it was wrong. We know that warrant was unlawful. We know that what we were doing as the court was lawful. And yet we're going to back down from doing that because we're afraid of the consequences of it, because they will again do something illegal. Aren't we painting them into a corner? Secondly, I'm trying to get...
Quit saying we. I'm not that
Secondly, I've been trying to arrange for Susie to go on Heidi Hanzig's Raging Elephants program. Heidi had indicated yes, she wanted to talk with her, and Susie indicated yes, she wanted to talk with Heidi. Apparently we're having problems with phone communication because I haven't heard back from her, neither has Susie. But what I wanted to ask Dr. Krupa is, would you like to be a guest on another Doc's show, Doc Green show on Raging Elephants? I would suggest that you consider that, and if you will consider it, I will make arrangements with you to do that.
Anything that you think will help, I'm glad to do.
Good, thank you.
I would suggest, I mean, if it was me, if I had a case going, I would suggest setting up another common law court.
Yes,
And
sir.
have, we can't just stand back and do nothing.
Let's push this going to Kirk County. Fucking bear, might as well do it in the backyard.
I'll leave that day, thank you. How did they get from writ of mandamus to summons?
How much, what now?
I'm confused. How did they get from writ of mandamus to summons?
The writ of media? The writ of mandamus, yeah. See, they kept coming into that meeting and saying, and talking subpoena.
Yeah, subpoena, yeah.
Subpoena, the subpoena was not for the Valentine's Day. That was for the next weekend, in a different room. Right. Not in the room with it. They had that all wrong. The writ of mandamus, writ of quo warranto went to that judge out there. The subpoena was on an attorney who was a friend of the judge that wrote the search warrant. And that was for the next week.
And that was for the next week.
When you go through it and read the warrant, okay, there's some questionable things in it as far as what was the purpose of it and why were they coming to our meeting as opposed to the court, which was scheduled the next week. And they say they're going to catch us red-handed. We're not the court.
They got confused.
So, I've been wanting ever since February the 14th to go through that warrant with a fine-tooth comb, to go through the affidavit that was issued to the judge to prepare that warrant. I'd like to go through both of those with some other people that are better informed about the law and go through that and pick out everything that they've done wrong in that thing. And then have a press release about that.
That would be
A whole
awesome.
bunch of things.
You gotta be careful there, though. you'll get yourself into acting as a defendant. And you'll be defendant in their ballgame, not yours. You gotta watch that. Okay?
Let me understand, are you saying if we do that, and we put that out as a press release, that they're gonna come back after us for a press release that points these things out?
In common law, we have to do individual. And I don't know how we could word what you're saying to keep it on an individual status. Because you're talking about going after a whole county or whatever. I don't know. I just have to see what you have written, and I think Ray would too, before we could agree to something like that.
I'd like to ask kindly for an opinion from Supreme Court Justice, if that's y'all agreeable to them.
I don't hear nobody not agree.
How do we know Ray's gonna have an opinion?
Remember what I said earlier.
He told you before he got sworn in, where he was gonna stand.
Here's the issue, first of all, what we look at as far as the offense. Offense is whether it was a summons, subpoena, arrest, harassment, assault, blah, 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 blah. What you're doing is playing into the hands of that entity that wants an incident. They can't produce the other. Have you noticed the only thing that they can produce? Rick McLaren, 16, 18 years ago. That's all they can produce. They don't have anything else. And another understanding is too, even under common law makes it very clear the king is sovereign and he's immune. If his agents, which are whoever, baron, magistrate, whoever he appoints, they are immune. Your only detente, the only thing you've had right now says if they don't show up again, if they don't pick you up, has been that media. Whether you understand it or not. As long as the media is there, and that's one thing we've missed for years, is we've had bad press. Why? Because we've been adversarial. What do they want? They want you to be adversarial. Because once you expose them, if you read the first press release, well, it's probably 2 or 3. We placed in there international law. That's the reason when this event took place, and I got the opportunity to speak, and I took the microphone. I was when I looked them in the eyes and said, I study international law. Why did I want to make that statement? I'm not going to use common law against you. Why? If you understand international law, the human rights issue and other issues that there's signatory parties on, why do you think today you have Sharia law in certain counties across the U.S.? How do you think they get by with Sharia law when you talk common law?
Well, there's no, in common law, there is no enforcement for it, is there?
Well, but no, you're not looking far enough. Like I said, dig back into that resource. First of all, they want Sharia law because they just want to deal with Muslim communities. They don't attack the outside authority. Why? They're just like he said earlier, from inside. Once you establish that, you get a footing, you get a growth going. What happens? Then it'll spread, and they're going to contact you as business owners. As anyone else that's offensive to that. It's that growth. But the issue being is under international law, understand this, there are no statute of limitations.
You understand? You gotta understand these little things. When this person, why did you think, like, even where I live, used to the illegals would come through there. They stop the house, going through, such like that, have an accident, whatever occurs. If my next door neighbor calls and said, I got some illegals on the place and they're crossing, and y'all need to call the sheriff. What does the sheriff say? We can't touch them. Call ICE. Why do they call ICE? Don't call the sheriff. Well, the sheriff go out there and pitch him. Because the jurisdiction's out of his hands now and over here. And if that person's an illegal alien, that must mean he's a national of somewhere, isn't he? Dirty word. If he's a national of somewhere, then there must be an agreement between this country and their country. Your common law, if you have another common law court, do not ever issue anything to the occupier. Because even under the laws, that's the reason it's very strict and they're separated, even under the laws, this is a diplomatic situation. What is your detente right now? The press. What did you do in that press release? Have y'all read that one? Pull it up on the screen. I want y'all to see this. If I got the time, I want to explain something to you. I want to explain, not the last one, but the one prior. Because even under international law today, they brought in the moral issue. You don't know it. I do. The moral issue is you don't do certain things because other than just being criminal, now it stretches over into the moral. Do you have a right to exist?
Yes.
Human right. Is the U.S. signed up? What conventions did I quote? Russia. We quote. You in charge? How many countries are signed on to the UN Charter? 170, 180? What happens when you, Spain, Greece, Brazil, violate that charter?
All the other countries get involved.
Then that's your norm, your jus cogens, that applies to every one of you. There's certain things you can get away with, certain things you can't get away with. Why?
Okay, Ray, which one do you want, 3 or 2?
3. I believe it's 3.
Yeah.
All right, scroll on down some. A little further. Whoa. Now we present our case to the world as a right to self-determination of the people. Self-determination goes back to who? Goes back to the French Revolution, goes back to the American Revolution. They say that you don't have a right to exist because of Texas versus White. Well, they want to throw me off because they want me to come in there and argue Texas versus White. I don't have to go there. Is the right to self-determination of the people stated within the United Nations Charter? Yes, it is. Read, people. Is it in the Friendly Relations Declaration 1970? Yes. Is it in the Charter of the Organization of American States, South America? Yes. Is it in the 1948 Article 3 Helsinki Act? Yes. Is it in 1975 Articles 1, 2, 6, and 8? Not I, VI. The right to self-determination, principle of non-intervention, and the subjection of people to alien subjugation, domination, and exploitation as affirmed by multiple conventions as well as the United Nations General Assembly resolutions. Who are you? Well, we're just going on people. You're dealing nation to nation. If you want to tell someone that you're occupied, you better be able to prove it, because most of them will look at you like stupid. But I made it very clear. We did. I keep saying. Subjection of people to alien subjugation. Are there any international tribunal cases that deal with that? You doggone well better believe it. What is it? What's alien subjugation? In other words, you're the people, and someone else is subjecting you to their will, not your will. Even in the U.S. Declaration, we the people, by the people, for the people. So thereby, something alien is subjecting me. And it's asserting domination. And also, during this time, there's exploitation. Now, in each one of those phrases, are there international tribunal cases for each one of those? You better believe it. And you wonder why this, and you don't want to go to the, well, don't go to the UN. I don't care where you go. Charter of Economic Rights and Duties, non-intervention, equal rights and self-determination of people, remedy of injustices which have been brought about by force and which deprive a nation of the natural means necessary for its normal development. What does that say?
They're keeping you from growing.
It means if you're a people like you say you are, then you better start acting like it. Or otherwise, you're not those people. And that's what they want. They want to prove that you ain't them people. How do you prove to the world that you're those people?
Go to the international court.
How do you prove it to them? Prove to them, first of all, you know who you are. Ross McLeod, you say, although you need to know who you are. I want you to learn who you are. If you are who you say you are, and if you're a nation, how do you deal with another nation? Well, it's treaty, convention, agreement, such and so forth. But there's also the protocols that are laid out there that deal between one nation and another nation, especially even if he signed on to it and you ain't. That's the peremptory norms. We're going down to International Law Commission. Who is the ILC? They were commissioned by the UN to draw up draft articles that dealt with state responsibility and other issues for 50 years. Are they stated in other international tribunal cases as references? Absolutely, and they're affirmed by those cases. So they're used and accepted. You want precedent? Article 26, compliance with peremptory norms. I didn't even go into, we didn't go into, everything was going into bits and pieces. Why? Because you're exposing to those. You're not letting them know everything. My Lord, I ain't going to show you everything in my pocket. Why? There's a diplomacy. Diplomacy says that we assemble peacefully as a people. Let me ask you a question. Did the Republic of Texas ever exist as an independent nation recognized around the world?
Yes.
Then what makes you think it's disappeared? In your mind, maybe where it disappears, It's like a statement in there, and I don't mean to carry on too long, but I gotta get it into some of you hard-headed people. It did not disappear unless you say it did. No matter what force comes against you. My God, how long did the Indians fight? Where are they today?
Still fighting.
They got bingo in the front yard. How do you think they did that? You think that the U.S. Congress, how many times I think, I just feel bad about what we did to them people. I think we'll just make it up to them. Give them a casino. No, they didn't. It's because they learned and they look back at the treaties. What does that mean? Treaty obligation, treaty obligation, treaty obligation, treaty obligation, treaty obligation, treaty obligation. You and I, we may have a contract. Between countries, it's a treaty. Or the obligation is there. Why in the first place did you have the UN or even the Permanent Court of the League of Nations? Why did they set that up? Because they wanted everybody to understand we don't want these wars no more. We want to settle, dispute this, so everybody signs on and agrees that instead of going to war, we're going to dispute these obligations. And you're going to have to accept them. If you want to deal with Kerrville, the Mexican tribunal on the corn, and I don't remember all the names, I got up in my notebook. Arbitration Tribunal. Argentina. There's a state down in Argentina. Argentina is the country, the federation. There's a state got sued in the International Court, Tribunal Arbitration, for responsible. How did that happen? How did that happen? It's a little state. Why? What do you think the U.S. does when it comes to the Leyland brothers, these other issues and such and so forth that deal with these nationals? What they've done is they passed it on down to the state now. You're responsible for that. We're not taking responsibility. Yet in that first agreement, they said that they would handle, in that treaty of annexation, they said they would handle the disputes. Is there an obligation?
Yes.
Did they break it?
Yes.
Peremptory norms. How much do I have to do? Y'all want me to shut up and sit down? Shut up, Bruce. Peremptory norms. They can't be they can't violate, even under emergency. Even if there's an emergency, state of exception is declared. You can't break these though. You can do this, you can't do this. Established. Sir Gerald Fitzmaurice, Special Rapporteur on the Law of Treaties. Is the treaty of annexation a treaty? We used to think no. Said it would because this and that. I'm telling you it is. Why? Because I'm going to use the frickin' thing. And if I call the Secretary of State and send me a certified copy of the treaty, what do they send me?
A copy.
Well, a copy or whatever, they still send me the treaty of annexation. The only thing the resolution was some are self-executing treaties and some are non-self-executing treaties. If it's a non-self-executing treaty, then they have to have the approval of the Senate to ratify, and then they put it into the legislation to enforce the treaty obligation. Law of treaties treated this question on the basis of an implied condition of continued compatibility with international law, noting that a treaty obligation, the observance of which is incompatible with a new rule or prohibition of international law in the nature of just cause, would justify and require non-observance of any treaty obligation involving such incompatibility. What did Fitzmaurice say? You got a treaty over there that says that you can have slavery. Slavery is abolished. Thereby, that treaty is abrogated. And then people do not have to comply. As a matter of fact, they're required not to comply. Well, let's go beyond slavery. As I told you earlier, post-colonialism, what did they say? They said that because of this period of empire building, those superpowers colonized or by aggression conquered those territories and forced alien subjugation and domination on those people. What does that mean? That means they outlawed aggression. And it became a periphery norm. Saddam Hussein, you just drove all your tanks down there in Kuwait and took in people's country. Nobody signed on to that charter, UN, can recognize the legitimacy of your claim to Kuwait. Why? Well, we just don't like you. No. It's because the obligation was there. Aggression. 1845. What happened in 1845? They annexed Texas. 1845 is perfectly legal. That's 19th century. 19th century, perfectly legal. What did it say? You see, even if an earlier treaty now violates a new rule in international law, a treaty ain't no good. I don't know how many countries I looked at. People say, how can y'all think y'all can do it? I don't want to go into all the details with you people. Portugal, 122 years. Boom. Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, 50 years. You're out of there. And you're restored back to who you was before that. You don't deal, if you are claiming, if you are a people, if you're a nationality, you don't deal with them in your judicial. You deal with them through the executive, through diplomacy. What did you do right here? What did you do? You just told them, I'm not an old, misinformed fart, whether you think it or not. I ain't, and I'm telling you, y'all want me to create an incident to play into your hands so that you can gain your, because as long as I'm a belligerent, what's Palestine? Read the Israeli. Israeli says, we would be more than happy to let you have and form a state. But you people don't compromise. You keep lobbing bombs over it. Well, that's it, the other. I don't care about none of the theories. The facts are this. As long as they're belligerent, they ain't going to have a state. That's international law. If you're a continued belligerent, and guess what they can do? They throw you down on the ground, put the big boot on the back of your neck, handcuff you and shock you and everything else, said you were resisting arrest because of those war powers, the emergency, the state of exception, which there are no rules, apply to the executive, who's the commander-in-chief. Have I gone too far, Dr. Kruger?
I started drinking an hour ago.
Are you getting off of me like something like dead men? One to a box? Here's the issue. The common law is internal, municipal. That's the reason it deals with people to people of your nationality. If you're dealing outside, even the King George knew this, dealing outside, he had to do it through diplomacy, a treaty, an agreement, an obligation. And if you're going to go and sit in the world arena and have commerce and trade with the world, You're not gonna sit down, write up a plain old contract and say, you pay, I pay, blah, 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 blah.
I'm ready to cut you off.
Good man.
Because I want to clarify something. I was in no way suggesting that we go back after them in common law court. What I was suggesting is we go through that warrant, we go through that affidavit, and we understand all the things that they did wrong. They're going to do this to us again. We better know how to handle it.
That's what I wasn't regretting you, I'm just making sure that I quell the whole issue right now. Between the judges, between the influence outside, inside, anywhere else. Don't go there. Otherwise, tear that up, write an apology, and don't expect me to show up next month.
Ray, one question. But do you have a question? When we were working on the phone call for press release 3, I asked if we could get somebody, no names mentioned, but his name should probably rhyme with Bannon, to take paragraph by paragraph so that I could take the sidebars off of this and have this document here and in English, what this means to me, paragraph by paragraph alongside this. Without the legalese, the documentation, just a color commentary about what this document means to me.
Well, that's one thing I hope in time to do. But my time is short. I got maybe 1 hour in the evening, 2 hours in the evening. I can't do that. And what I'm trying to do is because, like I said on the call, have you ever watched Perry Mason? Now that's a Hollywood pictorial. You ever watched Sherlock Holmes? You ever watched the Agatha Christie? What do? They use the forensic science, they build the credit, they take this, they do this, and they set their strategy to now to where it's placed and presented to the jury. Who's your jury? The people. I thought I was throwing it serious. But this is what the intent is first of all, you want detention, you want coverage, you want protection. I want for everybody. I can't do it singly, or otherwise we've practiced that and we've made time consuming. What you do now is because you have the golden opportunity to spoke of. How much of the world, you're the webmaster, how much of the world looks at you right now?
Not as much as we want.
Was it more than it was 2 months ago?
Oh, we got that right.
Then you got their attention. And if I write something like that, I'm not writing to Joe. I'm not writing to Joe. Who am I writing to?
The world.
I'm writing to the jury, but first of all, I'm writing to the judge that you were wanting to sign on that.
Right, but my point was, the judge is going to understand that. Some of us understand it, some of us will dig through it pieces, part by part. But for the most part, for most of the 2,000 people a day that hit the site, we're at 4,500 for the day, they're not gonna understand it, and I think it's gonna just kind of, their eyes are gonna fog over, and they'll leave the site without really understanding.
That's the reason what my strategy, and I keep saying my strategy, and I hope y'all approve this. That's the reason this one went out first. Because at first,
that is still in
first
for
thing
most
is
people.
Addressing who? I'm addressing that authority that came in, brought in, took everybody's stuff, did this and did that. I'm addressing him. Why? Because the sheriff's gonna say, well, I got a warrant, I gotta serve. Who's that? The officer says, well, I've got this and I gotta go to John by the judge and everything. Well, who's the judge? Judge is gonna get you caught into a trap. He wants an incident. Because he knows it was illegal what he did, whether it was by statute or not. What he wants you to do is have another common law court and issue another hearing or have a ruling on it, such and so forth. You play into his hand. What we're doing right here is explaining to him. First of all, I ain't no old misinformed fart. Maybe an old fart, but I ain't misinformed. Second of all, number 2 comes out. What does it address? It addresses the issue that I am informed enough to know that you got me under emergency. And you've changed the legislation. What am I addressing by the second one? I'm addressing that alien subjugation and domination. Because I just told you down here, and that was just with one, Fitzmaurice, on the issue that there's a treaty, because the only thing you claim you got over me is that that treaty of annexation brought me into the Union. So you're saying I'm a state. Thereby, you've got jurisdiction authority over me, whether I like it or not. Well, I hate to tell you, Bubba, I ain't Alabama. I ain't Oklahoma. This is Texas. You got me in here through a treaty. If you got me in here by a treaty, you can call me a state, you can call me whatever you want to. That's the reason I changed from municipal into international. And I raised the points. Number two, brought it up and said, I'm telling you right now, you think I'm misinformed? I'm fixing to inform you. Because you and I may have different opinions, but I'm going to tell you it ain't opinion. It's understanding. And we're going to get understanding, number one, straight up. This old country hill boy, hick, ain't misinformed. And this is my country. This is my land. Why? I got a birthright. You got a birthright? Anybody in here got a birthright? Who paid for that birthright?
Jesus Christ.
Number one. In Texas, that blood been spilled to pay for me. That's my inheritance. That's my birthright. That's the reason I have a right to exist. I ain't misinformed. Only difference is me and you ain't sat down and had a good talk. And I don't want to sit down and talk to you. Because all you want to do is bring Jack Booted in here and throw me down. So if you and me's going to have a talk, let's have an arbitration. Let's go over here overseas and sit down in a peace palace. You bring your issue and I'll bring mine. So we don't have to go there. I said, good, don't show up. Don't. But like the Hawaiians did, and the others have done. You want recognize? You want recognition? What happened when them little Hawaiian people, first time walking up the Peace Palace? It was like old Will Rogers when he walked into Carnegie Hall. This place sure hold a bunch of hay. And then people walking out. What did they say? It was ambassadors, diplomats. They said, Mr. Ambassador so-and-so, we'd like to present you the government of Hawaii. What did that mean? They got acknowledged. What do? He just mentioned it to you earlier. We find out what works, even though the bad guy. Whatever, you find out what works. You apply it. What are you going to apply? I understand the concern as far as these issues of how to get back at them. I want to get back at them. I don't want to get back at them. I want them to leave.
Absolutely.
Are they going to leave because I said you had to? Well, let's take a period of time. That's what the delay is, and such and so forth, for the transition. But them people out there that your jury ain't going to understand you until you present yourself diplomatically. And with that press, because now the world's watching. Now the jury's listening. So do you want next week to say, well, I don't know what's wrong with the website, but we're down to 150 a day? Or do you want to say, Mr. President, we got a call coming in from Brussels. Do you wish to take it? Mr. Vice President, do you have time to get online and go to the airport and meet the ambassador from so-and-so? Well, they scheduled to be here at a certain time. And I'm just confirming that she'll be there at the meeting. Is that what you want? It don't mean it's gonna happen today. But I'll guarantee you, it ain't gonna happen tomorrow if you keep acting and doing the same way you're doing. Show them you know who you are. They wanna sit there and call you white supremacist? Shut up. There's the whitest guy in here, right over there.
That's the old saying, if you want to kill a snake, you chop the head off.
Well, that's the reason, and yes, I understand what you're saying, looking at this, all the issues that they've done and everything else, but let me be very clear, very, very clear. They want an incident. They want one incident to prove what they said about you being bad guys and crazy and old and how we ain't. We're not belligerent. Any questions? Okay.
I'm the young guy, I'm full of piss and vinegar and about that much patience. What is? Give me your back.
Who's got the mics? You get it back.
What is the plan? I mean, are we fishing with bait, or are we gonna go, torpedo hunting? What is the plan? Because that's what my thought was, okay, this is gonna start fizzling out pretty quicker. People are gonna stop caring that we got raided a month ago. What next? Kind of waiting for the next shoe to fall. So, are we holding our breath?
Okay, here's the first issue. You go fishing, you're talking about fishing. You can go out there and go fish for bait. Little bitty fish. You can go fish for bait. Little bitty fishes. Look like I caught. I don't see no pictures. This is Texas. We make them big. I'm fishing with the world record. We waited and waited and waited. How many years have we waited? How many years have we waited? Long, long, long time. Like Paul Bunyan said in that movie, this desert just goes on. The problem being is that without that strategy, and this is where the trust that has to come in on multiples, you're going to have to trust the committees or get in on the calls, and they're 2 hours long, way too long. And understand as we educate along, because as the webmaster would like to see, is this explained in plain English. For me, first of all, to explain it in plain English, how many of y'all been on the international committee? We've been at an international committee for 3 years. For 3 years, the first year, I want to explain this real short and sweet to you. The first year, I had to break their myths and their superstitions and their understandings to just get them to open up to accept the new information. I've got books at home. Cost me thousands of dollars. Don't tell my wife. And you have to go through, and you have to go through, and you have to go. That's the reason I don't take just one opinion. So in order for me to explain in plain English, trust me. That's all I can tell you, because what I did today is give you an outline.
Well, yeah, I trust you.
But you're trying to get the population to understand what we're talking about.
Even at a 5,000-foot description, I'm not saying into the detail, just an overview of what they're saying here.
Yeah.
And it's probably something that, if not you, then probably 4 or 5 other people in this room could.
That'd be fantastic, but I can't, because one thing I've had people, and they get upset when they send me YouTubes. They send me emails. They say, well, look at this, look at my paper. I say, no, I got one course, I got so much time, that's what I spend it on, that's where I'm at. I look for the points that I brought to you today as far as the cause of that. Now, how does that tie in? I know how I'll tie it in. And that's the importance that you understand, because if you're young and full of piss and vinegar, and if you're in here and I'm in here, I'm an old man and I know how to deal with young people. Because I will kick the you-know-what out of you and swear you're having appendicitis and we don't know what's wrong. When you call 911, get his body out of here.
Sounds like cops to me.
Because this is the point of climax. You make it, or you don't. And if you don't, and if you ain't ready, let me know. Just let me know. I could have stayed home today, Lordy.
No, you couldn't. No. Dave Krupa, the Chief Justice, you all know now. I want to touch on your question and something the speaker had said. I don't look at us as surrendering or giving up and letting them get away with anything. So,
Yes,
is it on now?
it's on.
Okay, I thought it was on. How I look at this, and again, I said I study a lot of history now. And current history and the past, every time somebody surrendered, like Fannin, like 280,000 Germans in Stalingrad, they got killed. Nobody ever wins from surrendering. But what I have learned by looking at Hitler's history and the people that practice Sharia law is quietly but very effectively they grow and they get bigger and they get bigger. So like poor Custer found out when he thought he wasn't going to find enough Indians, you come over the hill and that little group is now a big group. So what we're trying to do, go ahead and say it so I can.
Yeah, I'd like to get my question because he's rolling a cigarette, so I know what that means.
Didn't take him long. You got his microphone, we're safe.
So, the short and sweet answer, I mean, are we waiting on dollars? Are we waiting on a head count?
No, let me explain my view of this from a lower level Chief Justice who got a lot of attention I don't need, and I really don't like the microphone. I hope I don't have to use this again for a long time. I see right now as our opportunity to really grow and do this internationally, yes. And we've got Chief Justice Andrews that just had to leave because they got a car to go take care of, is doing a lot of things statute-wise, individually, that you can do. But I see this is the opportunity to take off, grow, file so much stuff internationally that maybe we end up like the Lakota Indians with their own nation inside Dakota. They have their own bank, they have their own money, they use only metal. So this, I love the piss and vinegar ready to go because that's what we need to be. For a long time, I felt like sitting here that we were going nowhere fast. And this seemed to be our time. And you're right, they're going to forget about the raid, but they're not going to forget about the new website, the press release. And the more people find out they can come to us with common law problems and have common law courts and settle common law disputes, the better we're going to do. Now, there's no purpose in letting some stupid judge somewhere throw somebody in jail that we need on the outside. So we have to be a little smarter and learn. We didn't do anything wrong. And that lady reporter said to me, "What are you in the Republic?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to consider myself a mediator, but the title is Chief Justice." And she said, "What's that mean?" And I said, "It means that I'm the guy that tries to make sure everybody gets a fair shake. And that's how we settle things in common law court." So the more we get this word out, now that we've got 2 radio stations and we've got a great website, we can start letting people know, if you've got a problem, bring it to us. And the more we grow peacefully, because most people don't want the violence. They don't want to get mixed up in any of that. Hell, if I had a chance, I'd been at the Alamo. I certainly wouldn't have surrendered with Fannin. But sometimes you have to outsmart them and beat them at their own game. And we have a lot of opportunity right now to grow and do court stuff and help people. I had people tell me when Ms. Kamick's case was coming up, they said, "I can't be on the jury because I know her." I said, "Hell, I know and love her and think the world of her, but I don't know the whole story from her or the other side. So until you had that court, nobody had a fair chance, and that's what this is all about, a fair chance for everybody from every possible angle. And if we get that word out, and now we got the radio thing, which is fabulous, and Steve's radio thing and the website, this is going to take off because people are fed up and they're looking for somebody to go to help, to build. They want people with Miss and Vinegar and Grove. And we're there, and now's our chance. So.
You know, some of us are wanting a plain English explanation, and I'm of the opinion that by going to the international court, we don't just kick this one judge, but we kick them all at once. And once we do that, then we can establish our common law court and get things done. But we've got to have the respect of the world to get it done. And if we keep picking our nose with those guys, that's not going to get it.
Okay, I'm waiting for Ray to get back in here because I want to schedule something for the 5th press release. We haven't discussed timing of that, when we're going to have meetings, and when Ray can have it drafted. So as soon as he gets back in here, we'll address that.
While we're waiting.
While we're waiting, Rich.
Oh, go ahead.
This is Rich. One last comment that on the spiritual side, that we refer to for a second, that we all must remember. We're stating we're one nation under one God. And we don't want to contradict that. We put something out, and then we don't back it up with our word. We put that out, and just like what he said, he's trying to get us in a conflict, which is a contradictory to what we believe in as one nation under one God, in which, like Ray says, God loves everybody. Okay? We hate their actions, but we can still love their soul. And we've got a witness to the world now. God allowed us to be a witness to the world. Like you say, they're looking for leadership. They're looking for spiritual leadership. And that's the only way, folks, we're going to turn this thing around, is people get back to the truth. They're looking for leaders. They're looking for leaders that have integrity. They're looking for people to keep the word. And we're out there. They're going to idolize us. And sooner or later, they're going to see our feet are clay. Because we're not perfect. All we have to do is just keep on going forward and admit the fact that we're not perfect. We admit to you're right, we made a mistake. That was wrong. We're still moving forward. We still want you to be behind us. Please appreciate the fact that we're trying to do the best we can with what we've got. And we need more than anything constructive criticism. We need your support. So please give us support.
Mr. Chairman?
Senator Wilson, you're on the next item, would you?
Yes, I think while.
You want to go ahead and take that?
Chief Justice of the
Okay.
Court. This is on the agenda, this is item 16.
14.
14.
16.
16.
7.
Go.
All right, update.
Go ahead.
On the declaration of disapproval. That has not been sent out because people have been laboring to find email addresses for the foreign minister of various nations. Last count, we had less than 30 of them, and we wanted to have about 100. However, times change, and these, well, let's say opportunities arise. We have the attention of most of America and a lot of the world right now. We're getting a lot of attention. For those of you who are newer, this declaration of disapproval says we, Texians, strongly disapprove of the ongoing violation of human rights by superpowers who are sending drones and strike forces and God knows what else what all else? Weapons of mass destruction against other nations which we disapprove of, and in the process killing God knows how many non-combatants who were innocent. We cannot stand by and let that happen without strongly objecting to it. And this is a call to all other nations who believe in righteousness to strongly disapprove along with us and to stand with us in solidarity against the superpowers being that violent. Will you stand with us? So my proposal is we go ahead and do it with the 20-odd emails we have and the 100 and some alternate media outlets that we have and the website that now works really well, and get this thing out there. See, there are people calling us wanting interviews. What will happen when we say U.S. is a criminal syndicate that is invading other countries and killing innocent non-combatants? Do you think we'll get some sort of a reaction? So, just before we take a vote of the Congress, I'd like to just have a straw poll of everybody in the room. How many of you believe that it would be a positive step at this point in time to put out that declaration so that many nations and their foreign ministers and all of these alternative media sources like TPO and everybody else, that this will be good timing to release that and show who we really are, declare ourselves. How many? Okay, that looks unanimous. Okay. All right, now the Congress can vote.
First the people, now the
Hey, Bob, I'd like to suggest something that we may want to consider here.
Go ahead.
We've had very little luck in finding foreign ministers' addresses, and we've done a heck of a lot of, spent a heck of a lot of time down rabbit holes to try to get there. What I'd suggest is maybe we ought to address it to their ambassador to the United States and ask them to forward it to their foreign minister, to their boss.
Anybody have a comment on that one?
I wouldn't go to the United States myself.
Well, see, to be the, let's just take, I spent 4 weeks in Costa Rica, the day after the raid when it started. I'd love to send this to the Costa Rican foreign minister because he's interested in international affairs. But the ambassador, he's interested in other things. He's interested in currying favor with the U.S. Can I put it any more clearly than that? But that's not what we're looking for. My main reason for going down there was, I've told you for 2 years now, there's a 33-nation alliance that would not allow the U.S. to attend or participate because they're ticked off about what the U.S. has done with the OAS, Organization of American States. Costa Rica has a human rights court. Costa Rica defeated the U.S. Army in the 1800s and sent them back home. Costa Rica had an election not too long ago, and the runner-up after the seated president who won was the Libertarian Party candidate. On and on and on. This is really big stuff. We have allies in Central and South America. They're already our allies. So I want to get the word out because having talked to them for 4 weeks in Spanish, or gibberish, they don't like armed aggression. None of them do. None of them like government in general. I was doing an informal poll, hundreds of people. In fact, if there's graffiti written by young people on walls beside the highway, says peace or make love, not war, you know. They are peace-loving people. And nobody has attacked Costa Rica. Nobody has hijacked an airliner and gotten up and said, we're going to kill all Costa Ricans on this airplane. Well, because they're peaceful. Their government isn't out bombing and nuking and sending drones into other nations. That's the kind of people we want to be allied with. And I'm sure that this 33 nation alliance of Latin American and Caribbean nations would welcome us with open arms.
Well, my point is, we aren't getting anywhere with foreign ministers. We want to get it to them. If we go through an ambassador and he decides not to forward it, nothing's lost. But if we go through him and he does forward, it's something gained.
Something gained, yeah.
What are we
Yeah,
looking for,
what
the
I
foreign
don't-
ministers of those 33
Foreign
nations?
ministers, no, of
the rest of
around
Rest
the
of the
world.
world? Let me take that on. I can do Google research like that. Possibly within a week.
I suggest that you send one copy to the Red Cross in Sweden, International Humanitarian Law. They're signed on with a lot of just the issues that you're talking about. They'll pass it on to all those necessary.
Voila.
Let's get it done.
And that would be an all nation.
Can you translate that into legalese for us, Ray?
Way too plain.
Justice Cannon, are you saying that the Red Cross from the Swedish headquarters will send it to various nations?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, this Congress has the authority to send it. It's already written, it's been approved, it's ready to go, it's been ready to go for months and months. But the time is right, right. Okay?
What? If it's done and ready to go, what do we have to lose sending it to foreign news coverage and seeing if they can, if they will print it? If you just get 2 or 3 or 1 or 2, the other nations are going to want to jump right in the middle of it and cover it as well. It might be wise to do that.
I call for the motion, because I believe this is God's timing.
Second.
I second it.
Roma?
Who made the motion?
Thought Wilson did.
Vice President.
Who made the motion?
The last king, he can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I make the motion.
I call for, well, I didn't call for.
No, I have it down.
The declaration, I didn't bring it with me today because I figured it'd just get confiscated anyway.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
I might add that it will go on the, with this approval, it will go on the website. And whoever wonders what it was can go there and find it, and we'll give it a special tab on the menu. The things that are being done while Americans just order another pizza are outrageous, they're atrocious, they're beyond belief. It just means people have been callous, their consciences are burnt. And somebody's got to wake them the hell up. Here's what I do.
Okay, folks, let's take a 15-minute break. Radar is reinstated.
Well, I guess we're coming to the close of the second half. Everybody's convening for about 15 minutes, and then there will be a closing session. I'll go ahead and leave the camera running
recycling it real quickly for archival purposes. So all you guys out there, hang on for a second as I bounce this box. We'll be right back.